Hi everyone and welcome to Reactivated. Now then, we start with our bot bit. So in the background here you can see a particular part of a machine. Remember, the robot is the clue, but we're looking for the series. So which series based on the robot bit is this from? The answer will be revealed very shortly. Fantasy fight time now as we move on to the first round of the semi-finals. So we have the four robots, of course. Here we are. PP3D, of course, 13 Black, Can Opener and Apollo. So I'm just going to randomly select. You can see here 4 robots. This is fantasy fight, so anything could happen. Our first machine is Can Opener. Okay, so Can Opener will be against, randomly selected here. Okay, 13 Black, right. Which of course leads Apollo and PP3D, and that's not really a fantasy fight. Anyway, we'll get to that next time. But 13 Black against Can Opener. They never actually fought each other in the series. So again, this is quite a fantasy fight for me. If the reliability of both robots were apparent and correct, we could probably assume, based on the ferocity of 13 Black and the experience, that the disc would just spin, 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 spin. It would probably do a 360-degree spin on its axis, thrash into Can Opener. Okay, Can Opener are invertible, but there's no threat here. The only threat really for 13 Black is if the discs decided to just stop and Can Opener could claw in, but I think that the discs of 13 Black would just get up to speed and really have its day with Can Opener. Can Opener would be opened in more ways than one. 13 Black would immobilise it and the house robots would descend and crush the can. So for me, 13 Black is through to the heat final. Who will he be up against? Find out very soon. There we have it. As we move on to pit stop trivia. Okay. Now then, this, for me, when I first watched Extreme Series 1, and you looked at the arena and just the layout of the audience, in one fight it would be one setup and then the next fight, completely different setup, even down to the lighting. So for me here, this was a bit of a puzzle until, of course, a few years later I found out why. And the trivia here is that Extreme 1 was filmed in 2 blocks. So the first block took place at Earl's Court in July 2001, and the second at Elstree Studios in August and September of the same year. So the first block at Earl's Court featured the tag team and all-stars, and straight away you can tell, and some of the grudge matches as well, and also there are a couple of mayhem battles as well. Yes, so the new blood, the veterans, what was the wild card? That was it. The wild card fights, I think, were some of them fights were filmed as well. You can tell the difference because of the layout of the studio and the audience and the arena design. So if you look here, in Extreme 1, certainly the All-Stars, they had the drop zone on. In fact, well, actually, I tell a lie, they had the drop zone on, but the drop zone was featured in 2 separate places. But we never even saw the drop zone in Extreme 1. It was just there. It was more of a test, I think it was. They never actually showed it. It wasn't even introduced, of course, until Series 6. But then, of course, also you had the pods as well, the pods of the Roboteers. You had the arena, the audience that surrounded the arena in the Earl's Court setup. They were all around. If you notice very closely, they were all around the arena, and even the judges. You had, I think was it Matt? Can't remember his name. Matt. Oh goodness me, that is annoying. Anyway, Noel Sharkey with Matt and the professor, the woman judge, I think in the original. But they flipped with Martin Smith, was it? Matt Irvin. Matt Irvin, got him. Matt Irvin and the woman judge. can't remember her name. Doctor. Oh God, that is going to annoy me. Anyway, they swapped, didn't they, throughout Extreme? You're thinking, and also the layout of the arena, the lighting. So for me, was this all filmed in the same block? No, it wasn't. Filmed in 2 complete different studios. So there we go. Pit stop trivia for you this time. I'm going to remember the name of the woman judge. It's going to annoy me, but please do leave a comment in the comment section below of the name of the lady judge. Oh, that's so frustrating. Dr. Myra Wilson. Myra Wilson, there we go. Now, as we move on to a what? Myra Wilson. Was Myra Wilson. Yes, thank you. It was Myra Wilson. Move on to a what if on the screen here. Okay, now, this what if now, we've covered a lot of Series 3, but we've whizzed forward a few to Series 7. What if Tsunami had flipped Exterminator out of the arena? Very close fight. I've mentioned this before in a previous episode of Reactivated. One of my favourite fights of Series 7 was Tsunami versus Exterminator. It's gripping. And at this point in the series, Exterminator teetering on the brink of oblivion, I was thinking, oh God, another seed is about to go out here. I am not invested. And that was my logic, that was my thought process, because I just loved the seeds going through. I was all for a bit of stability in the wars. So with Exterminator, with another seed about to go out, I just lost interest. But it turned, didn't it, so quickly? But anyway, if Tsunami had managed to flip Exterminator out of the arena, it would have then been against Saint Aggro in the semi-finals of the series. Of course, we all know what happened when Exterminator met Saint Aggro, destroyed the wheels. But for me, okay, Saint Aggro was invertible, but the power of Tsunami would have just ejected it out of the arena. So I think they would have actually progressed to the second round of the semi-finals, where they would have met Bulldog Breed. Now, again, Flipper against Flipper, but again, the power of Tsunami against Bulldog Breed. Bulldog Breed was a very good robot, but I had no chance against Exterminator, as we know, but I think it would have followed the same suit. I think Tsunami would have flipped Bulldog Breed, and probably to the relief of Bulldog Breed, they would have appreciated Tsunami more than Exterminator because of the damage. So I think Tsunami would have progressed to the grand final episode, where they would have been against Typhoon 2 in the eliminator of the grand final, which is where I think things would have ended for Tsunami, similar to the Exterminator's run. So I think both Tsunami and Exterminator, they would have ended at the same level, the same distance, meeting Typhoon in the eliminator of the grand final. Of course, relying on Typhoon's weapons spinning up to speed, because Typhoon could shoot across the arena. But yes, Typhoon thinking that they would spin up straight away, because he knows Typhoon in the first round of their heat in Series 7, they didn't even spin up. Bigger Brother flipped them. They were out pretty much, weren't they? Anyway, I digress. So we've got to rely on the fact that they do spin up. And once they've spun up to full speed, they would annihilate Tsunami. It would be a very close fight, pretty much similar to Atomic and Typhoon, but I think Typhoon would have still had the edge. So there we go. Tsunami, they wouldn't have gone all the way through and won. They would have got through certainly to the grand final and lost to Typhoon in the eliminator fight. So there we go. As we move on to merchandise memories, and today here we are now focusing on Panic Attack. There we go. So Panic Attack. Now we purchased Panic Attack Christmas 2001. Now I have mentioned that this round of 6 replicas, these 6 toys, each had their own faults. And for me, the Panic Attack toy, which of course, I'll say this now, that the Shremek, there was no Shremek. Why wasn't there a Shremek added to Panic Attack? We tried to manipulate the toy in our Series 8 version with a back flipper and skirts and a self-righting mechanism. But I think for me, the Panic Attack toy, they could have added the self-righting mechanism. And okay, you might think that they probably couldn't do it because the operating mechanism for the forks at the front were in the middle of the toy, so you couldn't actually get to and put in a self-righting mechanism device for the toy. But I think easily there would have been a way around it. You could have put the mechanism for the spikes on the side here or at the back, or a bit of a Chaos 2 where it's like a button on the side. So I think they've missed a trick here. And it also gives the impression here that these flaps, the skirts of Panic Attack, lift up because of these hinges here, and they don't. It's all a bit clunky and all just a bit one bit of plastic. There's no defining features to Panic Attack. For me, design-wise and the way it looks, this is probably the weakest of the lot for these 6 toys. However, we still loved it. As you well know, we featured Panic Attack in many of our series. They did come with, if you remember, the football. And personally, we loved the football from, of course, Series 3. I'm just going to build it. Oh, God, I keep doing this. I'm going to run out of time again, aren't I? Building, there we go, look. There. Oh, God, it's all falling apart. 1, 2, 3. That's some sort of a net there. There we can see, and it's all falling to pieces there. And of course, the robots then would flip over. Oh, and the ball's gone over somewhere. And okay, well, there we go. That's the goal. Of course, Dead Metal used to be in goal. Of course, Evil Weevil won, didn't they, in Series 3? But then we replicated it many years later in our version. So there we go, Panic Attack. I actually preferred the football part of the toy rather than the toy itself. There we go, Panic Attack. Thank you very much. We've still now got time to move on to the bot bit of the show. If you very, very closely looked at this, it was Iron Orbit from Series 10. There we go, so Series 10. As we move on to, well done if any of you got that right, as we move on to your questions. There is just time for a couple of your questions. We've still got time on the clock. Where the hell does the time go? I don't know. Questions, though, from Bots and Pieces. Give yourself 60 seconds. Ooh, okay. Name every robot to be tossed out of the arena. Okay, here we go.
Activate.
Firestorm. Indefatigable. The Creature. Tornado. Okay, so that's Series 4. I'm not going to bother with Extreme. Series 5. The Steel Avenger. Smidsy. Oh, and then there was Corporal Punishment. Who did Corporal Punishment flip out of the arena? Anyway, I've forgotten. Firestorm flipped out. Oh, goodness me. The Reactor. Anyone else from Series 5? I'm sure I've missed so many. Bigger Brother. Yes, Bigger Brother tossed that tank machine out. What's the tank machine called? Oh, goodness me. Bigger Brother had a flipping good time, didn't they? I can't remember. Anyway, okay, Series 6. Dan Tomkier flipped Chaos 2 out of the arena. Chaos 2 flipped Iron Ore out of the arena. Oh, goodness me, this is terrible. How bad's this? Series 7. Okay, M2, they flipped Vader out of the arena. Tsunami flips Smidsy. Is it Smidsy? Yes. Storm 2 chucked Steel Avenger out of the arena. Oh, goodness me, how am I doing? Oh, that's terrible. I'm so sorry. It's amazing what you do when you've been put under pressure. I've missed so many. Apologies. Thank you. Also, have we got any time? No, we've not got any time for any more questions. I do apologise. There's so many more questions. Thanks, Bots and Pieces, for that. As ever, yeah, the ceaser's just gone. Yeah, I know. I'm looking at the clock here. If you've got any more questions, please do let me know in the comments below. We will get round to answering your questions very soon. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of Reactivated. We'll be back very, very soon. But until then, thanks for watching and goodbye.